Hey everyone, my name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. This time it is the Women's US Open draw reaction. There's been some interesting stuff we discussed on the men's side of things. Now we go and see what's been going on in this draw preview. Well, it's not preview, but we'll do the draw preview after. This is a draw reaction, but there's been some interesting first round matchups, hasn't there, JG?
Well, this is more of our instant reaction, which isn't instant because it's...
Well, I haven't seen it, so it is sort of for me.
It's instant for us, but it's about 7 hours ago it actually happened, or 6 hours ago.
I've been
but we're
keeping
going to
out
be
of the way.
giving... Yeah, maybe less actually. Maybe my maths is just bad. But we've not really looked at it too much, like you say.
No.
We're really fascinated to see what kind of Osaka win it again. Is Ashley Barty someone going to be able to stop her? We've got Pliskova as a 4th seed. She's got her own quarter named after her.
Wow.
So many stories. But we'll start off with the sour one. And that is 2 names who aren't going to be there. Serena Williams, Venus Williams. It's been a long time since we've seen no Williams sister in the US Open. I don't know when the stats are, when the last time neither of them played, but it seems like it's a tournament they've dominated for so many years together. Yeah. And to not have them, it is definitely a bit of a changing of the guard, I feel.
Yeah, I'm super sad. It's been so long since we haven't seen both of them at the tournament. It was sort of signs that it was going to happen with Serena. I think it was the writing was on the wall a little bit. She's been struggling with this injury. I wasn't that surprised. But then when Venus pulled out as well, I don't know. Just it's a sort of the start of a new era. I'm seeing this tournament a little bit like that. And I'm seeing it from the men's side as well. I think it's on both. I know that Djokovic is there, but there's big name players who are of the older variety who are not going to be there. No Rafa, no Roger, no Serena, no Venus.
And that, by the way, that's the first time there's been no Roger, Rafa, or Serena I think at a Grand Slam, in fact, since 1997. It's the first time since 2003 that neither Williams sister has appeared at Flushing Meadows. So,
wow,
we are seeing some changes, and it gives the word I keep using is opportunity, because it means now someone who's not necessarily won one before or gone very far has the opportunity to win something and make a real name for themselves. And we're looking at the qualifiers because there's some really good ones on the women's. Raducanu we're getting very hyped about. Could it just be a complete unknown, goes all the way and does something special?
Well, we've sort of seen this type of thing happening at the French Open. And obviously, Krejcikova, she managed to make it all the way through. Yep. Contrary to popular belief, people weren't really backing her. But it just goes to show, if you have all the fundamentals in your game working match after match, and then it just takes the other players not to be playing their best tennis, and you can go on and win a Grand Slam. And that has got to give all the other women on tour hope, because Krejcikova, she was nowhere near the top of the favourites for winning the French. So you've got to think now, there's no Serena. There's probably going to be some people thinking, there's going to be a slightly easier route through this tournament maybe. I know there's some tough women on the tour, but if you can avoid the likes of an Ash Barty and Osaka in the early rounds, you might be able to find yourself in a quarterfinal. And once you're there, who knows? Anything can happen. This is Grand Slam tennis.
I think the big argument is, how good would Serena have been anyway? Is she been at the level where she's competing for the big titles for a few years? Not really, no. So
no.
I don't think it's a big loss in terms of the competitiveness, but there will be some younger people who would be a bit fearful of facing Serena, because she's a legend. She's an icon, someone they've grown up to, and probably a big inspiration to why they play. But let's start off with this. The number 1 seed, world number 1, Ashley Barty.
That's correct.
This is how her draw looks. You can see her there at the top. I believe she's in the half with Pliskova. And then in the other half, we've got Osaka and Sabalenka. So starting off with this one, I'm looking at them names now along that side. I think Cerebro's Tormo is someone who I look at. Clara Burel and well, we've got the two Claras, haven't we? Clara Taus and Clara Burel. Battle of the Claras, only one can win. I don't see either of them troubling the experienced Ashley Barty. And I say experienced, she's quite young, but she's just experienced.
She's so consistent, I think, is the word you can use for Ash Barty. Very good. Zvonareva, not the easiest first round draw, though. I think she could have got a lot easier than Zvonareva. Zvonareva, really, really good player. So, but I think Ash Barty, she just looks so good in recent weeks, months, even the last couple of years. It's going to be hard to.
I honestly think the biggest threat there would be a Cerebus Tormo or a Mukova. Mukova can be quite good, but inconsistent at times. Who else do you have down there?
I'd say people who can actually trouble her. Looking down, Jem Brady.
Jem Brady, that's the one.
She's decent as well. I still don't think anybody's on that sort of level at the moment. Ash Barty's sort of in a class of
Jem
her
Brady,
own.
what? She was Grand Slam finalist start of the year.
Yeah, but there's still there's part of me that doesn't think that she's going to be able to replicate. I mean, Barty's, it just seems it's week in, week out with Ash Barty, whereas someone like Jem Brady, I don't think she has that consistency in her lock. I know we're in the US, and I know that she does do well in the US. There's just something that just if they match up against each other, I don't think it's going to go well for her. She didn't do well against Osaka in Australia, lost in straight sets. I think it'll probably be similar against someone like Barty.
Yeah, agreed. I think Barty will be okay to get to the quarters. Looking at the other side, who she could face in that quarterfinal, there's some tough ones. I think right at the bottom, if we start there, Iga Swiatek, the number 7th seed, former French Open champion. She's, I don't know, I'm not really sure how to assess her form because it's been a bit hot and cold, but then she's young, she's developing. She's a very popular girl on tour now. A lot of people like to watch her matches. And I think looking at that side there, you got Ferro, more of a clay quarter. Teichmann, we know when she turns up, can be very dangerous. But I think Swiatek will be okay until she potentially faces I reckon, Pegula. Hear me out on it. I think Pegula in the US, this is going to be probably her best slam. She did very well at the Australian Open start of the year. I think she can go one step better. I know she's got the gold medalist there at the top. I think it's going to be between them two to sort of get out of that little section and then face a Swiatek. So out of them 3 names, that's who I see as the potential matchup to Ashley Barty. You can pick who you want, but I'm probably going to go with Iga. I love the talent which she possesses, and I think if it all clicks for her, she has the biggest hitting on tour. She's so powerful, and I think she's the one who's the real threat, and that's the match I want to see. I know she's better on clay, but I want to see that matchup. Would you agree it's them 3 on the other side?
I don't know. I think you're ruling out Teichmann a little bit here. I think she's been in great form recently, beating obviously Bencic in straight sets. She was looking really good. Bencic is another one we can't rule out as well. Bencic, obviously the gold medalist from the Olympics.
Was my 3rd.
Yeah, I think she's. I'd like her draw, to be honest. Yep. Roos, I think she can get past her. I think she gets past Trevisan, Coco Vandeweghe. I think all the way up to Pegula, but that for me would be a little bit 50-50 Bencic Pegula. Down the other side, Teichmann, I think she could potentially take that small little section there. Swiatek, as we know, she lost to Jabeur, didn't she, in straight sets?
Yeah.
There's no Jabeur in this section.
Well, you've got Matthew saying Swiatek's not a danger on the hard court. Seems like still at the development stage outside of clay. She definitely is developing on other surfaces. She was a bit shaky the first match I saw on grass as well against Heather Watson. She turned it around and won that match in the end, but it wasn't the same level we are to expect from her. But I think she is going to find it. And who's to say she doesn't have a good US Open? And then after that, everyone's going to be like, oh, she can play on hard. And she's playing quite well.
Well, exactly.
This could be the tournament for it.
We thought Karatsev was only good on clay, and then look. So this is what I mean. People improve when they go onto these different surfaces and play a bit more tennis on them. So,
but overall, comparing this to the men's number one in Djokovic, I think it's pretty similar. I think they've both got not the toughest of routes. I've had a look at some of the other graphics just before we went live, and I think there's definitely one which is a lot tougher. And maybe another one as well. This for me is not that difficult for Barty. If she's firing, I think she can progress. The real threat is really coming from the other side, if I'm honest, not her side.
How horrible as well for look at who the qualifiers will have to play if they come through. Jen Brady, Teichmann, Swiatek. Not particularly nice for the qualifiers coming in. You're going to have one of those three to play in this section. I'm saying I'm hoping Raducanu, if she gets through the final round of qualifying, those are tough matches. But it would be electric if she gets to play one of those three. They'd all be exciting matchups.
Yeah, it could be Raducanu, but I hope it's not in a way.
No, I know.
I want to see her pitted up against another qualifier or something. Let her get through one round, hopefully.
It's been announced who she's playing. Well, she has to get through the final round of qualifying. She'll be playing Sharif in the final round, and that is not an easy match at all. Sharif, one of the top qualifiers. She's the 4th seed in qualifying in the top 100 as well, and a power hitter. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully Emma can make it through.
Before we move on to the next one, should we go at the first tab? Let's see what they have as the projected Barty route. And they've got Zvonareva, Towson. I always find it weird. I don't know why they go Towson over Burrell. I think it's just done off rankings. Probably. Maybe. You got Kudermetova, Brady, Sabalenka, Pliskova, Sabalenka. And I think it echoes what I said. It doesn't look that challenging. Maybe that's me being harsh, but I generally look down them names and I think they're all beatable for Ashley Barty. And you need to remember, she's won 2 slams already. She hasn't. She didn't win the Australian. She's won 1 slam. She won Wimbledon, didn't she? We had, Osaka, Krajcikova, Barty, and now the 4th one. Yeah, we had 3 different slam winners, but she's just won the last one. So she's going to be having a lot of confidence coming into this. And she's won, the Masters event recently?
Yes. Amazing.
Cincinnati or Toronto? Cincinnati.
Yeah, a very, very impressive style as well. She just
battered everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't even look like it was like a bit of a walk in the park for Ash Barty. I'm not really sure. And she didn't even look like she got out of second gear, really. And that's the scary thing for a lot of the other women on tour. I know that we can have these crazy things that happen, though. We saw it. Was it Muguruza that she went out to in the Australian Open?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And when it was just the medical timeout, and all it took was something like that to just throw her off her game. We know in the women's game, anything can happen, really. And all of these names, even someone like Jen Brady, if she's on her game, she can beat a lot of the women on tour. And even Pliskova, I know that we say a lot of negative things, but she's been back in form, and if she's playing well, we'll find out her draw in a second. Who's to say that she won't be there in the final?
I just think looking down them names there, Barty has a real shot. It's on hard court, Swiatek on hard. You can't really look at her in the same regard.
No.
It's not a bad one. So moving on to the next one, we've got Pliskova. She's the other girl on her side. Yes. And there she is, the 4th seed for this tournament, which is quite crazy. She's been shooting through the rankings.
She has.
She gets to finals and then collapses. I'm not a big fan of her personally. I never have been. I don't think I ever will. So apologies for all the Pliskova fans out there. Even Ben a little bit. I know he likes her a lot more than me. There's something about her. I cannot get engaged with her tennis. She just frustrates me. I find her hit and miss. And I don't know. Who's to know what to expect? But she is the 4th seed. So put some respect on her name with that. And she's been playing very well up until winning events where anything's possible. Looking down this list here, a name which may surprise you I'm going to bring up first is Tomljanovic. I've actually had a good Wimbledon and has a lot of grit and determination. I think watching Berrettini do so well, she's probably thinking, you know what? He's got to a final. Now it's my shot. I'm going for the US Open final. So I'd watch out for her. Badoza, she's one of my favourite players on tour. I speak about her all the time. She's good on a lot of different surfaces. I think she'll be all right on the hard courts out in the US, even though they are playing a little fast. We'll just see how it goes for her. I fancy her to do very well, but right at the bottom, who's there in a way?
Well,
Pavlyuchenkova, which I don't actually mind. And I'm looking at that now, and I'm very confident in Badoza's abilities to potentially be facing off with either Tomjanovic or Pliskova.
Yeah, mate. I actually I don't think it's a bad draw, really. I mean, Pliskova sort of causes herself problems a lot in these tournaments. McNally, you'd expect her to beat. And you'd expect her to be meeting Anisimova probably in the next round. Like you said, Tomjanovic, strong Australian player and good on hard courts as well. But for me, I'd be probably worried about Badoza. Like, I know that you're a massive fan. She's been one who's really creeping through a lot of the draws at the moment and getting deep in tournaments.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one that could probably trouble Pliskova the most on that side.
Yeah.
On the other side, if we move over...
I just want to say quickly, I actually think, I don't know, discredit to these players here, but this is the weakest quarter by a long way. I know I said about Barty's one. This is, for me, the weakest. And then you've got Barty's as the second weakest. That's just where I rank them. Personally, after having a quick look. And it might change as the podcast goes on. But this, when I first looked at it, I thought this looks like a weak quarter compared to the others. You've got to remember there's good players in all of it. It's a Grand Slam.
Well,
but in comparisons, this is a lot weaker.
3, 4, 5, 6 qualifiers in this quarter as well. So only 3 in the last quarter on Ash Barty's one. Pliskova's one has 6 qualifiers in it. I think the right-hand side looks stronger, though. The players...
It's stronger, but is it? Kvitova right now, she's playing great when we watch her. When we did the live watch-along, she was amazing. Then she folded in the next match. She's not at the same level we would expect of like one of the real top players on the women's tour. Don't get me wrong. I think she probably advances from this little bit.
Tough first round, though. Hercog, if she plays her game, she can actually beat some of the big players.
I'm not really. I can't say the same, mate. I think you got Sakari there, who's very good.
Yeah.
She's another name. Kostyuk as well.
Great first round, that match.
That's a really good first round match. Kostyuk, Sakari. But some of the others, it doesn't fill me with too much confidence. I know Samsonova's in a bit of form, but she's not a real world beater.
Siniakova's good, decent. That's obviously Krejcikova's.
This side's definitely better, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely better. You got Lauren Davis there, and then you've got real tough first round matchup there for Bianca Andreescu. She's playing Golubic in the first round, and that could be a potential banana skin early on for Andreescu. She could go out.
Well, I wouldn't say potential. I think it is a massive banana skin. Andreescu, I can't remember when was the last time she won. She's been losing so many matches. I know she's when did she win this tournament? Was it 2018, 2019?
Yeah, I think 2019. I think I have to think back because she's still so young. So it seems like it shouldn't have been that long ago. Yeah, 2019. Yeah.
So she won this against Serena in the final. It was an amazing final. I remember watching that.
It was amazing.
I loved it. And she was just one of my favourite players at the time on the women's side, but she's fallen off a little bit since the injury. It's sad. It really is. Hopefully she can get back. I believe she will, but I'm just not that encouraged by her form and the way she's been playing. This is a good chance to gain some form, though, because really a lot of these names are beatable for her on these hard courts in America. She's a champion here. If she can find some form, she can definitely advance from it. I'm just not sure about her injuries and whether she can get through all the matches. There's so many matches coming thick and fast, and if physically she's not at the races, it's going to be very difficult for her.
Yeah, I totally agree. If she's not fit, you got to remember the only bit of form that we've really seen from her this year was in America on the hard courts in Miami, where she got to the final to play Ashley Barty.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of hopefully some hope there that the only bit of form that she's had has been in America. and on the hard courts. So she beat Sakari, Cerebras Tormo, Muguruza, Anisimova, all in 3 sets, has to be said, hard fought wins. And then she just was injured, obviously, in the final, if we all remember rightly. But Ash Barty probably would have beaten her anyway, in my eyes. I think she's just more consistent. She didn't have as longer matches. She didn't have 4 3-set matches leading up to it. So I think it's if she can rekindle that form, she has a good chance in this little section here. She could even potentially win this whole section, this whole quarter.
Yeah.
But she has to put it together, and she can't show the signs of injury. That's it.
Yeah. And I'm hopefully now we're going to the next one. You're going to look at this Pliskova section and think, oh, it was quite weak because this is the strongest quarter. I'll be surprised if you don't agree with me. There is some serious names here, and there's a lot of damage. A lot of damage can be caused. I'm not sure who wins the quarter. And if you're Naomi Osaka, she's not going for a great patch right now. It's not what she wanted to have in her section. Just as an example, you look on the right-hand side, you've got the final of 2017 there, Keys Stevens.
Yeah.
It's a tough section, but we'll start on the left-hand side. And right at the top, we have Svitolina.
Yep.
Really good player. I'm not sure how she's getting on in this current tournament. I've not been following it so much, but I know I had her win in it. But I don't know.
Well.
I fancy her chances here. She's going to be dangerous, but then she's got the likes of Vondrasova, who's finding form now. You've got Rybakina, awesome player. Pironkova, not really at the same heights right now, but she did very well at the US Open when she come back from her timeout through injury, and she had a baby and stuff, and then she come back and was amazing. It could spark her into life. She's got a great record here at the US Open.
Yes.
So I wouldn't really discount her. And then at the bottom, we've got an unseeded player in Ann Lee in America. You've got Camila Giorgi, a champion of Miami. Is she? Did she win? Cincinnati? What did she win?
I can't remember.
Toronto.
Yes, Toronto, I think.
She won Toronto Masters, and we've got Simona Halep at the bottom. So if you don't say this is tough, then, well, it is by far the toughest quarter. Some serious competitors.
Well, when you look down the list and you see that the players who are unseeded, that's always the key, isn't it?
You look at the unseeded ones, and they're Masters champions this year in Camila Giorgi.
Yeah. Montreal, wasn't it, in Canada? I don't know why the women's one was slightly different. Canadian Open champion. That's a horrible draw for Halep, I have to say. It's not nice. Ann Lee as well. She's looks like she'd be able to get through potentially if she manages to beat the qualifier. We got Rybakina in that section as well. She's been looking fantastic recently. And like you were saying, Vondrasova, Kasatkina, Pironkova, Svitolina, all down one side. That's a who's who, really. I mean, any of those.
Hold my beer, because we're going to be moving over to the right-hand side.
Got it, yeah.
And you think this side's tough.
Drinking your
beer
as well.
Wait till you get on this, and it's all on the same quarter. So this is stacked for me. We go over to the other side. We'll start at the bottom, seeing as you're there already. And that's the number 3 seed. The champion here last year, Naomi Osaka. It can't be too bad, can it? And then you've got Pliskova, first match. Hitting form, playing well. You then got Leylah Fernandez just above. You've got Kai Kanepi, an unseeded player who's dangerous as hell. Putin Saver.
Yeah.
Coco Gauff sneaks on this side.
Oh,
you got the final of 2017, Key Stevens.
Yep.
I can't see that other name. What's it say?
Kalinina, yeah. She was having some good form in recent months as well. And then you've got Kerber at the top.
Just to make things worse, you put Angelique Kerber.
Wow. It's a horrible draw, really. For anybody who is planning on getting out of this quarter, you're going to have to do it the hard way. Svitolina's in there. It's just a who's who, really. I mean, you could pick maybe 10 names that could potentially win this quarter, I think.
Well, just starting at the top, Kerber Gauff, did they not face at Wimbledon? Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
And Kerber demolished her. I think you did the watch along and I joined late.
Yeah, it was Kerber. Yes, 6-4, 6-4.
Yeah, that's right. and it was one-sided as hell.
Yep.
So Gauff's not going to be too pleased with that. I think she stands a better chance at the US Open than on
Definitely.
grass, definitely, because Kerber's great at Wimbledon. So Gauff will be maybe the favourite to advance.
I think so.
Keys and Stevens not at the same level as they were, but still very tough, especially in America. And at the bottom, I don't know how you want to assess it really. Osaka, is she gonna be able to get out of there?
I think so. I think that the first round, second round. I mean, I don't know. This whoever should play in the second round. This is
Parks.
Alicia Parks is in terrible form by the looks of it. I just had a quick check on. She lost her last 4, I think. So
Okay.
I'm probably the qualifier will beat her, and then you'll be seeing Osaka if she gets past Pliskova. Then you've got an interesting matchup. Probably, I don't know. I'd probably say maybe Leylah Fernandez or one. I don't know. It could be any of those 3, to be honest. But then Coco Gauff, if she gets all the way there, we know what she did to Osaka previously at a Grand Slam. She's beaten her at a Grand Slam before, and she can beat her again. In my eyes, I don't think she's going to be scared. She's going to be having probably the whole crowd behind her. I reckon. I think Osaka might have some on her side, but I think they're probably side towards Coco Gauff. They normally go towards the underdog. They normally go towards the youngster. And despite the popularity of Naomi Osaka, I think there's some people who are getting a bit annoyed with the way that everything is on the court at the moment. And people want to see somebody who can handle the pressure, somebody who can step up to the mark. And Coco Gauff isn't going to shy away from it. That's for sure.
Okay, what I want to ask you, just a quick question. Does Osaka... does she get that quarterfinal matchup? So, but in other words, does she beat everyone on her side?
I don't think she does.
You're not so sure about that. And then looking at the other side, at the top, who is it? Svitolina. Who do you see advancing from the Svitolina's side?
From Svitolina's side, it's like, who do I think? It's like, who do you think who would you like? For me, Rybakina, I would love to see go through that on that side. I think that she has all the tools now, and she's really coming into her own at the moment. I know that she got to, 8 or 9 finals last year, and I don't think she was winning many of them, but still, you're getting deep in tournaments. Now she's continuing that. I'm just hoping that we can see some more silverware from her. I think she can do it. I just think she's still so young.
Yeah. Part of me thinks Vondrousova could do something special looking at the draw.
Potentially.
I think when there's so many top players, usually it's the one you least expect sort of comes through, who's good, but just not the one you thought would do it. And I think she fits that bill perfectly. But what do I know?
Could be
Angelique Kerber's very popular in the chat. Magnus is going Kerber to advance. She certainly can. She beat Coco Gauff. Why almost think she can't do it again?
I just it's really tough to say. Well, people ruling out Camelia Georgie, and they ruled her out.
Halep.
And Halep is just down there. She's don't forget about Halep. She's one of the grittiest, most determined competitors on the women's tour. So
I'm not sure what her fitness is like at the moment. Not been playing as much. Do you want to have a look at Osaka's route, which they've done on the US Open?
Yeah, I was going to say, this could be just a tournament on its own, this little section.
It'd be a good one. It'd be a Masters.
It would be, it'd be great. Right, so Osaka's, this is what they are putting down. Pliskova, Parks, second round, because it's playing a qualifier. I don't think that will happen anyway. Putintseva, Kerber, Svitolina in the quarters, Sabalenka semis, and then Barty in the final is the potential route.
Tough.
Interesting.
Really is. I think from third round, she's going to be under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. I'm not sure if she's going to handle it either. She hasn't handled it very well recently. I know that she has been winning hard court Grand Slams, but I think there's just too much around at the moment, too much around with the media aspects of everything. I'm not sure if it's going to change. I think that there's going to be too much on that whole thing that she can't handle the media, and it's going to affect her in a negative way. And I don't want that for her. I would hope that she would be able to get over it and just play her tennis. I'm worried that that's going to become the narrative now. like you can't handle the pressure of the media, and they'll just get on her case. And it's sad because she could probably achieve much more if they weren't on her case, but she's just too big a star.
Yeah, we've got Gala there talking about Halep, saying Halep, she passes Georgie and gets it done. Certainly is possible.
It is possible. Halep could win that whole quarter. That's the thing. No one's talking about Halep. She'll probably sneak through. And you're saying all these players who could just sneak through. That should be one person who everybody's talking about. Halep. She definitely has all the tools.
So moving on. Next one, Sabalenka.
So this
is on the same side as that other quarter, the Osaka quarter. And this one's, there's some big names in here as well, looking at it. We've got Krejcikova right at the top there. One of the, would you argue, the best player this year? I know you got Ashley Barty. I think it's between them two. I think no one's won as many WTA matches as Barty and Krejcikova. They've both been the two in-form girls on tour, winning on all surfaces. Just so consistent and so great, really. So she's going to be a massive threat. You've got to get past her, you've got to really beat her in terms of you've got to be playing at 100% and not make many mistakes. And then you've got a chance of beating her because Krejcikova, you're always going to get 90% plus. Super consistent, super dangerous, and has become now one of the best players in the world. Definitely. She wasn't at the start of the year.
Ranked in that number 8 seed for good reason. She's a scary...
I see her rising from there as well, personally.
There's a lot of people calling. I've seen it in like the Discord and in other live chats. A lot of people saying that she's in their top, top 4 or 5 for this tournament.
Yeah, I think she should be top 4 or 5 in the world as well, the way she's been playing. But hopefully the rankings can reflect that soon. Looking at who she's got, Joanna Konta, the Brit.
Yeah,
I'm not as confident as what I was maybe a few years ago with her. Performances haven't really been great. Sarah Rani, she can throw a spanner in the works if she's on it, but not
only on clay for me.
Not a big one for me. Azarenka, though, she is the finalist here, the US Open last year. She's got a great record here at the US Open. I forget, how many has she won? I'm going to just have a look now.
Yeah. Let's not give any false stats before we old Vicar, Morty Vicar. Two slams that she's won, and both in Australia.
Okay,
so she's had the final of the US Open 3 times.
Yeah, I know she's been there a few times. Wait, is she sure it's been 3?
Yeah, 2012, 2013, and 2020.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so
still not won it.
Nah, I mean, well, 4th time lucky.
she does very well here. I'm surprised she's not won the US Open. But what you say, 3 finals and lost all 3. The most recent one against Osaka, we covered it. It was one of our first ever live watch-alongs. I think it is the first ever live watch-along we ever did. Funny enough, Azarenka Osaka.
Yeah. I think so.
But with her, I think she's gonna rise to it. I know she got absolutely battered by Barty recently, 6-love, 6-2. But things can only go up from here, and she could do well if she can get past Muguruza. That's the real one to get through.
Well, don't rule out Donna Vekic, though, as well, because Donna Vekic, she can play some good tennis on a day, but you'd have to say...
not for me.
Muguruza, she's more of your Grand Slam caliber. I think she's the one. She puts the bums on the seats. People will come out in their droves to watch somebody like a Muguruza on court. For me, in the Olympics, obviously lost to Rybakina. And since then, she's had a bit of a tough time of it. She lost to Siniakova in Montreal, and then she lost to Krejcikova in Cincinnati. So she needs to refine the form to get her through that first round. And I think when she gets through a couple of rounds, Muguruza, she starts, it's like a momentum type thing with her. And you could see her go deep in the tournament, or you see her go out early. That's what I think.
Yep.
I don't think there's any in between with her.
Yeah, she needs a bit of momentum, and sometimes she can go do well. Tough one to call, though, that side. Some good players. Definitely them 3 we mentioned, highlighted, are super dangerous. On the other side, Sabalenka's side.
Yep.
Looking down them names there, the big threat will probably come in the form of Danielle Collins, who's been playing quite well. I know she won a tournament recently.
Yeah, she's a very good player.
But saying that, I think Sabalenka should have a little bit too much. So I think it should be pretty straightforward, that little section for Saba. But at the top of that, that's where it gets a bit more difficult. We've got Ons Jabeur there, Elise Cornet.
Yep, moving up. Elise Mertens.
Elise Mertens at the right at the top, and Pliskova.
Yeah, Pliskova making up the numbers. Yeah, Mertens got quite a nice little section there, other than Jabeur. I think Mertens and Jabeur are on a collision course there. I think that'll probably be the one that does end up happening. I don't know.
I'm not so sure on Mertens. She's not been playing well at all.
I still think that, I don't know, in the slam, she still sort of does it. Collins, I think, would be one of the main threats here in this section, though. I think Jabeur, Collins, and obviously Sabalenka. Collins won in San Jose, beating some big names, beat Rybakina, beat Kasatkina, Sloane Stephens, Shelby Rogers. I think that she's dangerous. She's just beaten Simona Halep recently as well, Teichmann.
Yeah.
She's up there with some of the best players on hard court at the moment. But it's tough. Saba, if she's on, no one's beating her in that section for me. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, with the serves, I think the courts are playing quite fast as well. It might help with Saba's big hitting and serving. So, yeah, you'd fancy her. But I'm probably going to be, my heart's with Ons Jabeur. It always will be now, forever. So, but let's just continue with this. I think we've done this one really to the death.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is a relatively tough draw. If you look at the Pliskova one, I think this is tougher. It's not as tough as the Osaka one. But yeah, projected quarterfinals.
Yeah, indeed. These are the projected quarterfinals there. And you've got like a Barty, Swiatek, Andreescu, Pliskova, Osaka, Svitolina, and Krejcikova, Sabalenka. So some very interesting. They could well be the quarterfinals. I'd be very excited if they were the quarterfinals, to be honest. That would be very, very happy reading and some good watch-alongs there.
I think
for
if
us.
anything you could learn from all of the Grand Slams we've seen so far, I don't think any of the projected quarterfinals have been close at all. I think the Roland Garros one was completely, all 8 were different. It's going to be very unlikely we see these 8 players in the quarterfinals. Yeah. On the women's tour, it's a lot more open. I think we'll be lucky to see maybe 3 of these names survive out of the 8.
Let's go through. I'm just going to put you on the spot quickly. Which of these people do you think we're not going to see in these quarterfinals?
The bottom left, you can cancel out altogether. Not sure we're going to see either of them.
So
Andreescu, Pliskova.
So
cancelled.
Rude.
I think it's going to be unlikely we see. I don't want to. You're putting me on the spot big time. I think a Sabalenka could really struggle. I don't think she's going to really get there. And at the top right as well, I'm not so keen on either of them. I'm not sure if Osaka or Svitolina is going to make it. But it's tough. Like, I'm not saying they're bad players. I think that's the way it goes sometimes. It could be, there's going to be someone who we're not really expecting in this quarterfinals. If you follow the history of all the other slams you've seen, the last however many slams, not even just including this year, but the years before, there's always a few more surprises. And this would be a bit too predictable.
Yeah, definitely. I think Barty should get there. There's part of me that think Plisk's going to get there. I think the ones that probably aren't, I think Swiatek won't, Andreescu won't. I'm not sure on Krejcikova either.
You think Osaka's going to get there?
I think that I'd just go with Barty, Plisk, and Saba, and then all the rest I'm not sure on.
I'm not sure on Saba. I would just put Barty. Barty's the only one I think is going to make it. Yeah,
definitely. That's the only one. Ash Barty wins the US Open. There you go. So you heard it here first. Well, I wouldn't be a surprise, to be honest. She's just in ridiculous form, and I think if she did win it, it would be well deserved as well, because she's just gradually becoming a dominant force on the women's tour. the performance you put in Cincinnati didn't even drop a set. It was it was a little bit.
I love how both of us didn't even talk about Krajikova here and say that she's going to drop out. I believe she'll make it as well.
I'm not sure.
From just consistency alone, I think Krajikova and Barty can be the
I think she could, but I just think she suffers with a little bit when she faces power players, and that's the only thing I'd say with her. If she comes up against somebody who has one of those matches that they get everything in and they hit all their power shots, I think she's out. And that's the unfortunate thing with her style of play. It doesn't allow for people playing really good, hard-hitting tennis against you. Yep. Unfortunately, you go out because you're just a consistent tennis player and you don't have the power, but she's just got all the other tools. Just happens sometimes. You see it with some of the best players, even in the men's game. They have their all-round game, and then they come up against like a Robin Soderling, or they come up against a Lucas Rosol, or they come up against anybody who can. I'm naming people who beat Rafa.
Yeah, why are you just picking the Rafa one?
Or you come up against, I'll try and pick that as Sergei Stakovsky. There you go, someone who knocked out Federer at Wimbledon. You come up against some of these other players who can run you over. Or big Kevin Anderson, people like that. Like he's knocked out Andy Murray at like tournaments and stuff. But you come up against those type of people, if they play their best tennis, they're unstoppable. And I think that she will suffer against them. Whereas when you get people like an Ash Barty, she has a lot of other different tools and her own sort of power. Yeah, well, that slice. I can't wait to see it again, to be honest. It's just so horrendous to watch. Some people try and deal with it. It's horrible. I wouldn't even ever want to see one on a court. If someone did that to me, I'd be terrified. Wouldn't even get it off the floor, I don't think. Horrible.
Looking at some notable matches, first round matches.
Sure. Is that the first tab? No, this tab. There you go. Sorry.
So notable first rounds, obviously Madison Keys, Sloane Stephens. It was a final here. You can't discount that. Halep, Georgie.
Yep.
That's huge. Muguruza, Vekic, Daniel Collins, Suarez, Navarro. Not sure how that sneaked in, but I think it's Carla Suarez Navarro's last season, isn't it?
Go on, Carla.
I'm all for it. I'd love to see her win, but I think it's going to be a big ask against Daniel Collins, the informed girl. Mukova, Sorribes, Touma, that's a great one. Sakari, really Kostyuk, we spoke about that. That's great. And Golubic, Andreescu, another one.
I think that's my favourite of all the first round matches.
Would you say that's your favourite?
Sakari versus Kostyuk, yeah, for sure.
I would say mine there's Halep, Georgie.
I think they're the top two. Well, yeah. For me, they're the top two. I'm not, a lot of people are probably going to be nostalgic and go Keys, Stephens, but Kostyuk, Sakari, I think that could be some there could be some fireworks there. Kostyuk could upset the apple cart, that's for sure.
Yeah, certainly. Anything left to say about this one? Or should we wrap it up?
Don't think so, mate. I think we've done it to death until the cows come home. Let's just wait to see who the qualifiers are going to be, who meet all of these lucky ladies in the draw, because they're still playing at the moment. Going to be interesting. Let's just have a quick look, see who's playing right this second, so I can just give you a little quick update on what's going on the women's side. So we got Brit that's playing at the moment. Jodie Burridge, she's into a third set against Vogeli of Switzerland. It's 5-5 in the third there. Go on. Another Brit, Katie Boulter. She's a set and 4-1 up in that one. The Brits doing all right, aren't they? Harriet Dart, she's on serve in the first set. Are we going to have potentially? They could have about 4 British players coming through the qualifying at this rate. That's quite good. It's quite. You got
Jones as well. Did Jones go out?
I didn't see. I saw Sam Murray went out.
She played today, Jones, I think.
Let me just. She went out as well. Unfortunately, to Christian of Romania.
But we've got Raducanu, who hopefully can go through too.
Emma.
But we will be doing a more in-depth podcast on the qualifiers. Yeah. We'll be giving our favourite ones, the ones to watch. So make sure to join us for that. I'm not sure when, probably either tomorrow or Saturday. But we're going to wrap this one up here. If you haven't already, please hit the like button on the video. Helps us out. Subscribe if you're new. And we'll see you very soon. Probably the next one will be a qualifier video for the US Open. And then plenty more content as the US Open happens. We'll be doing as much as we can. Make sure subscribe, like, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon, guys.